As you guys can see behind me, we have yet another E46 M3 in for a subframe reinforcement. This particular car has a damaged chassis. It has cracks where the subframe in the car and the chassis mount has failed. So I went inside and grabbed Dan because I wanted him to get these on camera. So I'm gonna walk you guys through the damage and some of the things that we see with customers. Let's get into the car and check it out. So right now I'm under the car and we've actually already repaired the cracks in the chassis. We filled in and welded in those cracks as you see them because we're not gonna just weld the plates in over the cracks that are already there in the body. I want to take this opportunity to show you guys what actually happens and what makes the subframes fail, because it's just sheet metal that's basically stacked, layered, and these are the bolts that actually pass through the subframe and mount into the body. So I'll stick these in here so you guys can get some sort of idea. And what happens is when the subframe moves and when you get on your car and you shift quick with SMG, this is shifting, and it's shifting like that. And it's literally, here's the chassis, here's the bolt, it's moving the floor and moving the floor thousands and hundreds of times over the age of these vehicles, and it causes these cracks. Wherever it's weak, wherever it finds a weak point, it's gonna crack. I've actually seen chassis completely cracked all the way up to the top of the shock mount, where someone has just literally let the car go and go and go, needing to have this done or needing to put R-tabs in. So if you guys have an E46 M3 that has clunks in the rear, that feels kind of all over the place when you get on the car, kind of feels like it's on ice in the back, you need to have your bushings checked. You need to have the subframe done if it hasn't been done. If you don't know the history on your car, you can kind of see the mounts once it's done and once it's covered, but most of the time, if you don't know it's been done, it probably has not been done. And if a shop tells you or a seller tells you, yeah, my subframe was inspected and it has no cracks, well, I highly doubt that was done, because in order to inspect the subframe, you have to do exactly what we've done. You have to remove the rear subframe, you have to remove the undercoating, remove the cosmoline, and actually look at the bare metal to see if it's damaged. So normally that's not done, because no one is gonna pay 15 hours of labor to get their subframe inspected and not just pay to get the whole entire job done and done the right way. So let me grab one of our reinforcement plates and show you guys what's done. Here's the plate. This is actually one of the extended versions we normally use on these reinforcements. It's actually placed here. So this is the hardware for the subframe from the OEM car. It goes into this hole and it helps guide and protect that hole during the welding process. And basically all this is grinded down and then we weld these plates on, which adds rigidity and structure to where the subframe mounts so we don't have a failure moving forward. So now we're gonna move on. Zach is gonna weld all the plates and we'll be back with you. All right, so we're at the next step with subframe reinforcement and a rebushing, as we call it, for the rear subframe. The stock bushings have already been removed from the subframe and we've replaced them with the PowerFlex stuff. Typically for all of these jobs, we use PowerFlex. We've used them from day one. They're a great brand out of the UK, and they make everything in-house in a bunch of different durometers. We always go with the softest durometer that they make, which is their street stuff, which is normally purple and yellow. If you guys watch our channel, you've seen on the E91 and some other cars that we always really go with PowerFlex. And the reason I do that is because they're better than factory, but they're not harsh and they don't add NVH, which is the worst possible thing you could have on a street car. These are the subframe bushings, and these are the R-tab bushings that are here. This is one without the cover, and this is the OEM cover back on. These are our two-piece bushings with a metal sleeve. It's a perfect upgrade for anyone, and you're not gonna have to replace these bushings for a very long time, which is another plus. We normally do PowerFlex bushings also in the diff, but this customer just had the diff bushings redone, which is this front one and in the case with OEM, so we're gonna leave that alone this time. Next step is we're gonna step over here to the chassis, and Zach has been welding basically all afternoon on the car and on the plate. So last time we were here, I had the plate and I was holding it up to the chassis. Now that plate is completely welded on and everything's cooling now. And the next steps is Eric is going to go ahead and grind all the welds, make everything look good. Then we're going to apply the E-coat. And the E-coat that we use is the closest to the factory color and material that we can get. It has like a greenish color to it, just like all that you see here. Looks kind of gray because it has some dirt on it, but typically it has a little green hue to it, and that's what we use to coat this. And then we're going to go ahead and go back up with the subframe, and then the last step tomorrow will be on the alignment rack, getting the car dialed in, because we have the whole rear suspension separated from the car. Eric has just completed the final step of the subframe reinforcement for E46, which is the alignment, which is an integral part because we had the whole rear suspension out of the car and we replaced all the bushings, including the R-tabs, which are part of the alignment on the E46 M3. The goals here is, again, for the car to leave better than it came, with a repaired chassis, brand new subframe reinforcement plates, all welded in and E-coated, and a brand new alignment, so the customer can leave with a safer and better E46 M3. If you guys want to set up an appointment or have any questions on the subframe reinforcement for E46 M3, we'll have our phone number and email down in the description of this video, and we'll see you guys next time.